I think today we have found ourselves firmly in the crosshairs of silly season when it comes to the quarterback and these headlines that are going to start to pop up.
So, J.J. McCarthy possibly going to Washington. Gojo, the question that I have, is this too much hype? Is this sort of setting him up for failure, J.J. McCarthy?
At this point, like, listen, if you're J.J. McCarthy, you're pumped about this because you want to make as much money going into the NFL as possible because nothing's guaranteed. And I'm sure he has a ton of belief in his ability to go out here and execute this. But yeah, it is absolutely vaunting him into conversations that we didn't think he would be a part of at this point in time. It's wild to see the jump that's made, Dad, for, and as you guys know, I love a little bit of quantum physics mixed into the conversation. Schrodinger's quarterback here. This guy could be anything at this point based on the potential. That's the selling point for a player we just didn't have to see do as much as these other quarterbacks in college. And so now we've got this situation where, yeah, people are kind of running wild with this. I don't think he's going to be up at 2, Dad, but I think today we have found ourselves firmly in the crosshairs of silly season when it comes to the quarterback and these headlines that are going to start to pop up.
Oh, listen, this is lying season. I don't believe what anybody is saying. For forever, it had been Drake May number 2. Now it's Jaden Daniels in a lot of people's eyes. I'm still always amazed the jump that J.J. McCarthy is making since he last put pads on. That's what always gets me. I mean, you got a ton of film on this guy already and a ton of breakdown already. So the only difference, and if you sit there and you start counting combine garbage and pro day garbage, I got nothing for you. But if you're going to sit there and say, and sitting down with him, meeting him, putting him at the board, going over film with him, if that has changed your mind, then okay, at least it's something football wise that I've seen and not him throwing in shorts and a t-shirt where you all of a sudden say, oh my God, I can't believe what he's doing. But we're at the position as well, Charlotte. This is an overvalued position where we think maybe 2 would grade as first round quarterbacks. We're going to get 5 in the first round. And sorry, fans of those 5 teams, 2 or 3 of those are going to be a bust.
Yeah.
It's going to be your team's fault.
It's going to be your team. Yeah, it's definitely going to be your team. I mean, it's fascinating to me. I feel like this is what happened with Zach Wilson in 2021, where it was sort of like, okay, here's this kid who, like, we don't really have a ton on. He was, like, good, I guess, at BYU, but I would, like, when things started to come out that he might get taken at 2, I was like, are we sure? And now it's like, yeah, maybe we weren't. Maybe we shouldn't have done that. And I think with J.J. McCarthy, it's fascinating because that Michigan team, like, pretty late into the season, you know, they were putting up pictures of Blake Corum as the main attraction for that. Like, people didn't know J.J. McCarthy's name, I would say, nationally until that national title game. I think that there is, I mean, we saw this happen, I guess, Mac Jones as well. I think it's also like when there's a white quarterback who seems like he's a nice guy, I think teams are sort of like, well, what if we give it a shot? You know, he'll be fun to have when we go golfing. Like, and that's doing a real disservice to J.J. McCarthy. He won a national championship, but I do think that there is a weird way between the end of the college football season and the draft where people, as you said, silly season, but also like convincing yourself season. And also they're all lying. So like, we just won't know until this happens.
I think part of the core of all of this is the hubris of NFL coaches, front offices, and team personnel to always believe they can create and they can get credit for. That's what they're all seeking. And with J.J. McCarthy, you've got, I think, this incredible ball of ability that, Dad, to one of the points you talked about, we don't have as much film of J.J. McCarthy doing the drop back stuff and doing a lot of the quarterbacking in certain situations as we do of these other guys, because that offense was largely predicated, as Charlotte pointed out, on them running the ball, on them handing it off behind a Joe Moore award-winning offensive line to a Heisman Trophy candidate running back from 2 years ago. that didn't put enough or as much on his plate. And so when you've got, hey, guy with a live arm and a bunch of great physical ability who played on a really good team and made some big throws when it mattered and has all this championship stuff, and we can call him a winner and do all of that. If you're an NFL team that loves the idea of being able to mold someone because you think you're better at that than everybody else, he's a really enticing prospect in that way.
So, I mean, if J.J. McCarthy truly goes second, this has to be a move based on Washington. It better be about them meeting with May, meeting with Daniels, and meeting with J.J. McCarthy and just feeling all the things associated with it, be it in the classroom, the film room, or whatever, that J.J. McCarthy comes out on top. Because it can't be on tape. Because if they're just now going, oh, my God, look at him on tape, wow, he plays really well, then that's on them for not doing their due diligence already on every quarterback out there if you were going to choose a quarterback. So to me, and Claudia, the odds change significantly for J.J. McCarthy going number 2 now. I mean, it's unbelievable.
That big of a drop. I mean, we see this, and that's the issue with these markets, which is why I tell people to be cautious when you are betting it. This is all predicated off what people are hearing. So it's not weird timing. Like, it is directly coincided with what Harbaugh was saying about it and the fact that GMs, I think the big key there was not just a former head coach talking about his former quarterback, but it was him saying at the pro day, GMs and coaches loved him. And other coaches came out too and said he was great. He should be a top 3 quarterback. So yeah, but the drop from 18-1 to 4-1 is wild because all the movement has been between Daniels and Drake May. Daniels is the favorite at -170, but May at one point was the favorite as well. So now throwing J.J. McCarthy into the mix is going to shake things up. But technically, you could say you got a great number on him before the move. I still don't know if he's really going to go number 2, though. Of course, no one does.
I don't either. And I think coming off yesterday, there's a lot of information to take into account of that, not the least of which, and I hate that I've taken this long to mention it, what the New York Giants said yesterday to me is the most important development that's come out of the owners' meeting so far. That John Mara and company came out and said, yeah, we're sitting at 6, and I've told our staff, if we like a quarterback enough to either take one at 6 or go up to get them if need be, then they've got the green light to do so. Like, the Giants are a massive swing state in this draft, and when you look at the teams sitting above them, and the Patriots, Charlotte, who have been linked to trading down or potentially trading that pick, and the Arizona Cardinals and Los Angeles Chargers, who already have their quarterbacks, that is manna from heaven to them in a time where, do I think the Giants are totally serious? No, not totally. I think part of this is playing the game of creating some doubt of the teams below, teams like Las Vegas, teams like the Broncos, teams like the Vikings who need quarterbacks, to say, hey, if you want one of these guys, you're going to at least have to come up past 6 because we might be lurking here to take somebody and you don't know. And everybody now has to think, well, in the corner in the back of their mind, hey, the Giants might be players in this, and we have to account for that.
Yeah, I think it's also the Giants are the perfect team to do this because you look at them and you're like, yeah, I could see them taking a quarterback. Like, Daniel Jones hasn't been what they want him to be. You could also say, well, but, maybe he'll be healthy this year and there's a chance. So maybe they won't. Like, it is the perfect spot to play mind games. And I also think one more thing on the J.J. McCarthy stuff. I think sometimes not having as much information on someone makes them the most enticing draft prospect. I think that you don't have enough of you might not have enough of what they do right. You don't have enough of what they do wrong for a fan base to be really, really mad at you. And I could also see the Giants being a little silly and going and trying to get J.J. McCarthy, which I do not think is the right person to swap out with Daniel Jones.